He did what?
Under pressure, and he's sacked by Khalil Mack.
Holy cow, what a catch.
Patriots win the Super Bowl. Brady has his fifth.
Hello and welcome to NFL Talk UK. I'm Tom Julian. This is Ben McClymont. And what a weekend it has been. It has been busy, hasn't it?
It has been busy. Been busy for us, busy for the NFL, busy for Jeff, and a fantastic weekend.
Yeah, before we get into all the games and we talk about everything that's happened, crazy weekend. Just want to say thank you to everybody that came out on Saturday night for our first NFL tweet up. There must have been 30, 35, 40 fans. That sounded like I was running down the top. 30, 35, 40. It was absolutely amazing to see so many fans there. So thank you for coming out. If you couldn't be with us, we hope to do it again. Maybe we'll take it around the country once we get big enough.
Yeah, like I didn't turn up for this one. I'd like to turn up myself, so I'd like to get involved. Hopefully we'll run another one soon.
Yeah, and I can say wholeheartedly from Jeff that he absolutely loved it, and if it's up to him, we definitely will be doing it again. So thank you for making that, and also thank you to the guys that have put in your NFL Insta reactions. We really appreciate those. If you want to represent your team any week, just get in touch with us, NFL_talk_UK on Twitter. We're smashing the Twitter, actually. We're almost up to 450 followers in just a few short weeks. So again, this is all because of you, so thank you so much for getting involved. Well, should we talk a little bit about the games?
Talk football.
Oh man, and it kicked off from Thursday night. I mean, I know Thursday night it's kind of obviously UK fans don't love Thursday night because it's 1:30, 1:45, and I mean you're a real fan if you're staying up for the LA Rams and the San Francisco 49ers. But if you did stay up, boy were you rewarded.
You were in for a real treat, weren't you?
What an incredible game that one was. And you're obviously happy, Ben, because Todd Gurley, he's your boy, he's in your fantasy team. You feeling good?
Yeah, I backed him from the start. I said here in front of thousands of people. I backed Todd Gurley, and Sean McVay is finding many different ways to use him, and also the other weapons he's got now as well. So he's got Watkins involved, got Cooper Kupp involved. He's making Jared Goff look very good. I think everything they're doing at the moment is promising.
Is Jared Goff legit?
He's legit for where he is, I think. He's only second-year quarterback. I don't think this is going to be the next MVP or anything like that, but when you're looking for a franchise quarterback for the Rams, I think he offers a chance of that progression.
Yeah, we talked to Nick Ludlam. He's a San Francisco 49ers fan after the game, and you can sense the frustration with 49ers fans because like they're obviously in a rebuild, they've got a new coach, everything's changing in San Francisco, and yet actually they've been quite close to nicking a couple of victories, and they could be. You've got to take the positives there, haven't you?
Yeah, I think so. And where are you standing on the McVay v Shanahan kind of rebuilds? It's very early stage, we've got 3 games, but is there stuff for the 49ers fans to be pleased about?
I would say so, yeah. I mean, I was a huge Shanahan fan at Atlanta. The offense that he created there was just absolutely unbelievable, and I feel like I know less about McVay because he's just so young. He was maybe not tipped as highly as Shanahan last season, but I love the way Sean McVay came into the press conference after the game and was just like, they all got beer. Yeah. He just seems like a really cool character, and Jeff Fisher obviously gets castigated in that villain role, but they were so boring.
They were so boring. But how about, if anyone watched what was the Rams?
All or Nothing.
All or Nothing. There you go. Thank you very much. Him getting cut last year on All or Nothing was brutal. If anyone hasn't seen it, it's worth watching. But he gives a speech to all the players out there, and it's a real hard watch. So I did feel sorry for him after that. But he didn't help himself out much last year.
Yeah, if you're a new NFL fan, you can find that on Amazon Prime. There's 2 series of it. Obviously, last season with the Rams, and then the Arizona Cardinals the year before. Even though it's obviously done now, the season's in the books, it's well worth watching because it's such an interesting insight into how professional sports teams, particularly American teams, are run. So All or Nothing, well worth a watch if you're an Amazon Prime subscriber.
Definitely. And how about we talk about another team on the kind of lower ranks of the NFL, but making some moves, the Bears this week.
Oh, I didn't think you were going to go Bears.
Oh, you thought I was going to go somewhere else, but I'm going to start with the Bears. How about Bears Steelers? What a game.
What a game. Go on, you talk us through it. You're the Bears fan.
We'll talk about. I got a bit excited. If anyone following the Twitter out there, I got Tariq Cohen takes a punt, runs 70, 80 yards into the end zone. I go a bit crazy. I'd like start tweeting out that Bears won the game. Gets called back. And I'm thinking, oh no! Now Glenn's gonna have to throw it, and it's gonna go wrong.
Ben's on the Twitter deletion.
Yeah, I know. But then Jordan Howard, the sort of the magic duo, the other half saves today. Runs into the corner, and a fantastic win. I think the Steelers are a real good team, so the Bears taking it, and I think they proved the formula this week. Get running, get Howard, get Cohen going, take the pressure off Glenn, but it gets difficult. If Glenn starts throwing interceptions early, then he's got to throw the ball more.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see that John Fox has maybe got a few pieces together in this Bears team, and I know John Fox isn't a particularly popular character.
Yeah, it's a bit dull, isn't it?
But if he starts to put things together, and at some point we might see Mitch Trubisky as well, you've got then the makings of quite a quality young offense if it all pans out.
Yeah.
And then John Fox buys himself maybe a couple more years.
Yeah, keep the Bears train rolling.
Should we talk about the main issue with the Bears though?
Go on then.
Cornerback Marcus Cooper. Again, if you haven't seen this, if you're not a Bears fan or a Steelers fan, it's well worth checking this out. Cornerback Marcus Cooper makes a interception. Is it
It's a field goal.
A field goal.
Field goal gets blocked.
Yeah.
He's sort of, I'm not sure where he's running to, but he's kind of trying to block the field goal, but isn't anywhere near it. The ball ends up in his path, picks it up, sprints, it's about 10 yards away, and stops on the time.
Yeah.
And just tries to walk in. And then what happened after that?
Well, he gets absolutely mauled.
Exactly, he gets mauled.
by Steelers players, loses the ball, fumbles the ball, goes out past the end zone, and could have lost the game for his team for being just an arrogant man.
Yeah. And as someone who's not necessarily a first choice,
yeah,
you're on special teams, so I won't be doing stuff like that. You're risking. As a 7th round pick, I think he was, wasn't it, a few years ago now?
7th round pick in 2013. This is your opportunity. Don't waste it.
Yeah.
And now that's what you're going to be remembered for.
Yeah.
And you could find yourself on the trade block or the cutting block again at the end of this season.
Yeah.
It's a tough business, so take your opportunities when you can, Marcus Cooper. Come on. So let's move on to the game that was in our own backyard here, Ben.
London, baby.
The Jacksonville Jaguars romped to a 44-7 victory over the Baltimore Ravens. What a game. You and I were both at Wembley speaking to some of the fans after the game. Baltimore Ravens fans couldn't really believe what they'd seen. Jacksonville Jaguars were just in elation.
Yeah.
A 2-1 record, the first time in over a decade that's happened. And Mercedes Lewis hasn't scored a touchdown in over a year.
No receptions this year.
No, adds 3 touchdowns like it's nothing. He absolutely loves London.
He does, and the Jags love London. I think, was it 3 in a row now they've won?
3 consecutive victories, and that really... Well, let's talk about it. This London experiment that they're working out, they've got a residency here, as it were. They play 1 game a year. It seems to be working for them.
Yeah, it does. It seems to be working, and I think it works on many levels. And first of all, they sell out. That's the main thing. They sell out Wembley, brings in loads of money. Gives the European fans, which I didn't realise until we went yesterday, the number of Europeans who go, not just people from across London, across Britain, but we met people from Italy, Switzerland, all sorts, and loads of Americans come as well. So it just reaches the game out to such a wide audience, and that everyone comes over. Great atmosphere around the stadium. NFL put a few little events on stuff. I think a few fans saying they could build it up, and I think they can really kick this on, and maybe even, I know there's big talks of franchise coming over, but I think it could work.
Well, let's forget us talking about it. Why don't we hear from some of the fans that we spoke to yesterday? Thank you so much to those guys that stopped and talked to us. We'll take it away, fans.
All right, I'm here with Mike and Christina. Mike, how do you feel after that performance?
A little bit disappointed. It's my first time seeing the Ravens live, so a little bit disappointed. It was kind of a bit anemic. So
Yeah, going into it, you'd only conceded 10 points, and then you'd already lost that in the first quarter. What happened?
Exactly. I know. I think honestly, I play defensive line and linebacker myself. They didn't manage. Blake Bortles isn't quick. They didn't keep any contain. Fournette did very well. I know he's a rookie, but he did very well. So
the team didn't came down the plane, I think.
They're still in America.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think they arrive on Friday, which is very late. They were supposed to come early probably, but anyway.
Do you think the fact that Jacksonville are more used to coming to London, they come every year, really helped them today, or do you think it was just the fact that Baltimore didn't turn
A
up?
bit, it helped.
So, and what about the international series in general? Games here at Wembley. Have you been before?
I never been here.
Once.
I did.
It
was a great experience. Definitely better than the previous years.
Okay. Why was it better?
Because the Ravens were here.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Even though they didn't turn up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they didn't even start to play the game, but the experience was great at least.
And this is your first time?
Here, yes.
How did you find it?
Well, organization was awesome, basically. It's a bit fighty for the loss, but...
What made you a Jags fan, Trish?
I don't know, it's just because this is their hometown.
So,
Well, you know, they call it their hometown when they come to London, so who else would I want to support?
well, that's very interesting. So do you feel like the kind of Jags experiment of becoming the home team here is working?
It is for us as a family.
Yeah. Have you
Yes.
been coming every year? Or?
This is my third year.
Right. And you've come from Swansea?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so how long are you staying for?
We're going back tomorrow.
Okay. And so you make a bit of a weekend of it? It's a bit of an
Absolutely.
adventure?
We came up yesterday, we went to the theatre last night to see The Lion King, and here today, and then home tomorrow.
And
Very good.
if London was to get a team regularly, every or a full-time franchise, would you guys abandon the Ravens and become London fans?
No.
No?
Never. But maybe sympathize.
Yeah.
We will cheer for
Like
them,
an
but
European
not when we play
franchise,
the big
it will be good.
Maybe your second team. How about that?
It will be.
To see a team permanently here, is that something you'd like to see, or would you like to see a constant revolving door of teams?
I think it'd be tricky as far as if they can manage it. I mean, there's so much money in the NFL, they probably could manage a team here. So yeah, I mean, absolutely, I'd love to see a team closer to home. If there's more regular games, it'd be less expensive, you know, for players for fans coming from Ireland and across the UK, you know.
Is that something that you potentially go to more games then?
I would absolutely, yeah. I mean, I don't think I'd abandon the Ravens. You know, I'm not going to leave it, but I'd certainly consider, you know, coming to more games more often if there was a team in the UK.
Yeah, that's my next question, because it's so important, isn't it? Teams or fans rather feel a connection with these teams now, and to set up a franchise is going to be a big wrench for fans to decide to abandon their teams or so.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I mean, I think there's a lot of us that have been following it for years. I mean, I'm only 25, but I've been following it for 6-7 years. So, like those of us that have been there for a while, we're not going to change loyalties. But there's plenty of new fans. I mean, every year, the fact that there's 85,000 people coming along to a game, like there's plenty of new fans every year. So a new franchise will have plenty of fans coming along. So.
And what about the opportunity to have a franchise here full time? Is that something that you guys would be interested in, or would you rather see the Patriots come every other season or something like that?
Rather the Patriots come every other season, not really fussing about the franchise. You know, a lot of people are fans of teams here already, so it's changed the allegiances and everything. I'm quite happy with a couple of games a year.
Do you think the same kind of thing?
Yeah, I think I'd rather have the NFL bring the games over from America. Logistically, I think it's going to be a big thing to bring a franchise over here, and yeah.
Living in Watford though, would you not consider kind of watching the team more regularly and changing your allegiance?
I suppose I could do, but I've been following the Patriots for about 10 years now, so it's hard to pull away from the die-hard Patriot way.
How do you feel the NFL puts on a game in Wembley? Do you think it's a good experience?
It's a very good experience inside, but there could be more entertainment.
Right. Okay.
You know, pre-game. One year there was lots of things going on, but there's been nothing since. They need to make it more of an event. If it's their home game, they need to go a bit deeper.
And if it was to become a permanent team here every week, what would be your kind of thought on that? Would you come every other week?
As often as I could afford, but the travelling and the hotels, it'll probably be a couple of times a year.
That's an important part of it, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Was it the Super Bowl that made you a Ravens fan?
No, actually, no. It was just watching them. I just love the defensive style I've played. I've played defensive positions since I started playing football 3-4 years ago. So I've always sort of, leaned towards the Ravens. Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, it's kind of a natural inclination.
What made you guys Patriots fans?
First team I really ever, played on Madden.
Right.
And first team I saw really, and everyone knows the Patriots from their success in the early 2000s.
Yeah, again, one of the first games I saw was a Patriots game, so again, just stuck with them ever since.
And how's the season going to finish this year for the Patriots?
Well, it's Super Bowl or bust.
As always is.
Strong as always, all the way. See you in February.
I just decided to become a Patriots fan.
What, when they made that massive comeback against Atlanta?
Yeah.
Was it Tom Brady himself that led the charge? That's when you went, yeah, I'm going to be a Patriots fan.
No, not really.
No, just the game in general.
Yeah.
And were you allowed to stay up, or did you have to watch the highlights?
Just highlights.
Okay, fair enough. And what did you think of the game here today, live?
I quite enjoyed it.
Is it your first game?
Second, third.
Third or fourth.
All right. Okay, so you're pretty used to it now.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you very much for speaking to us. We appreciate it, and good luck for the Patriots this season.
Well, it's great to hear from these fans, like you say, from all over Europe really, and America, kind of coming over, making a bit of a holiday of it. Some people keen to see a franchise over, some saying, more people than I thought, saying that they would abandon their team that they've got at the moment and root for a London-based franchise, which I thought was really interesting. Some saying they'd rather see their own franchise over once every 2 or 3 years, which I can also understand, but it's positive signs for the UK, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And even the fans who are saying they wouldn't abandon, but they'd adopt a team anyway, so they'd kind of maybe buy a season ticket and follow a team. So there's definitely support out there. It's just it's working out NFL side, isn't it? Does a team want to come over? Where do they train? Etc. etc. There's a few stumbling blocks.
Well, it's very interesting you say that, working it out the NFL side, because I actually got a chance to speak with Senior Vice President of International for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Hussain Naqi, and we actually mulled over those questions. So it seems like a great time to cut to that one. Should we do that?
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, take it over to me. Well, let's go right back to the start when the Jacksonville Jaguars first came over to London. Sure. And what were the origins of that? Why did Jacksonville? Why did Shad Khan? What was the thought behind the whole process?
Yeah, well, Shad is a man who was just recently named one of the 100 greatest business minds, living business minds, by Forbes magazine, and that's not by accident. The man has just incredible vision, and he has made his money internationally, has plants globally, has tens of thousands of people who work for him, and he's not afraid of doing business internationally. Like the NFL, Shad sees it a real opportunity to make Jacksonville more stable in Jacksonville as a function of the commitment here, and he also sees an opportunity to grow our brand both domestically in the States and in Jacksonville and throughout the UK. It's a marvelous opportunity to try to learn what it would take to grow the brand here and to grow American football here. And it's a great privilege to try to be on the leading edge of that discovery and try to do some interesting things and engage with the market the way we have.
Yeah, you mentioned they're stabilising the position in Jacksonville. How exactly does that work by taking away a game from those home fans?
Sure, no, that's a great question. It's sort of counterintuitive as your question implies. So the NFL has a unique model from a business perspective, certainly I think unique to many global sports, in that our national revenues, so our TV deals, for instance, the national sponsorship deals, many of the merch deals, those kind of merchandise deals, that sort of thing. You have complete revenue sharing among all the NFL teams. So whether you're the Dallas Cowboys or you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, you get the same amount of money from your national revenue, and that's a really key thing. The big difference, though, between, let's say, a team the size of the Cowboys or the team the size of the Jaguars is what's called local revenue. And local revenue is your ticket sales, your local sponsorship sales, etc., etc. It's really, really important to have strong local revenue. That is for a variety of reasons. It helps you structure player contracts, for instance. You can front load, you can guarantee money more upfront. You can structure, have some bigger signing bonuses, etc., etc. And so, from a competitive perspective, the one sort of business metric that we have found to be correlating to success on the pitch is this sort of correlation between local revenue and local expense. So the stronger your local revenue versus local expense, you tend to be, those clubs tend to be much more successful on the pitch than otherwise.
Right.
Our activities out of London represent about 13% of our local revenue for the team.
Yeah.
And that's obviously a material amount, and that's why the stronger we are in London, the more we're able to derive the mutual benefit from this market, benefiting from us and us benefiting from this market, the stronger we are in Jacksonville. And we've been quite transparent about that with the folks in Jacksonville.
What about the fans' perspective, though? They're obviously, you only get 8 home games a year.
Sure.
They're losing one every year. How do they feel about this partnership?
Sure. Well, look, on both sides of the pond, we are deeply, deeply fortunate to have some of the best, what I would argue, some of the best fans in all of sport. And, look, not everybody embraces everything. There are some fans who are not so keen on the idea, but I think the vast majority of fans in Jacksonville understand the reasoning behind it. They may not be that keen on the result, but they certainly understand the reasoning and the strategy and why we're doing it.
Mm-hmm. And the international series itself, 4 games in London again, or for the first time this year, all sold out. It's quite incredible, isn't it? The growth of the game, not only in London, but we were there at Wembley this weekend, and you saw fans from all over Europe, as well as coming from America, to experience the game in London. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's 4 games, but certainly not. The sellouts are not uncommon. Sellouts are very commonplace. As a matter of fact, we had across the 4 games, so obviously half of the home season ticket package, as you can appreciate. We had well over 40,000 season tickets sold, and I think most football clubs in this country would be quite eager to have that level of season ticket base. I appreciate there's not quite a great comparison because there's a different number of games and that sort of thing. But the point remains that there is a really what appears to be now an insatiable appetite for American football over here, and that's incredibly gratifying. It's obviously a direct function of the work that Brick Ball has done. So the local grassroots initiatives that the British game and the amateur game has laid out, plus the initiatives of the NFL and hopefully our small contribution to that.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about the Jacksonville Contribution. What is your end goal? We had a question on Twitter saying, are you going to bring a team over here? Is that the end goal, or is it fan increase? What's the plan?
Yeah. Well, as I was saying before, our goal is to be able to learn as much as we can about this market and commercialize this market. That is the crux the responsibility we have. Our responsibilities you're asking with respect to the growth of the game. I try to talk about our North Star being a phrase like growth through participation. That's really our phrase that we use to guide what we do and the initiatives that we set forth. So, and participation can really be through a variety of means, whether that is actually participating in the sport, whether that's buying a ticket, whether that's buying a jersey, whether that is engaging with us socially, or coming to our viewing parties that we have. We have a whole host of things. We have a Jag Tag program that we introduced about a year and a half ago now, coming up on 2 years, that we have had about 3,000 kids participating in American football. We just at the game on Sunday brought 600 kids to the game for free because they participated in Jag Tag and improved their grades and stayed off drugs and alcohol and contributed to the community. And there's a fulsome program around this reward roast program that is possible because of our sponsor, LGT Vestra US. And we also have an academy that we put on for elite players here. We'll be putting on the pads this year, so we'll go to thud as the phrase goes. And we have a national flag football tournament that we just showed off the winners at our Wembley game, and they'll be going all expenses paid to the Super Bowl. So yeah, the initiatives from participation perspective are sort of top to bottom, and then we also have things like an exclusive news conference or press conference that we put on for media and for fans here in the UK. It's every Wednesday evening, called Jaguars Jam, and we've had all of our stars participating, and they love to interact with the UK fans and UK media, and I think the market here doesn't get enough credit, frankly, for how sophisticated the knowledge has become. I think that it's an easy throwaway thing to say that these guys, they sort of cheer whatever they think is appropriate and don't really know the game. If you actually go to the game and you actually talk to people and you actually pay attention to what the fans are doing here and the knowledge of the fans, they're every bit as knowledgeable as as American football fans back in the States.
Yeah, well, that's what we're trying to do here with NFL Talk UK. You know, giving the fans a platform, because you're right, we love this game as much as every American loves it, and it's a wonderful opportunity to have games over here. I wanted to pick your brains. You mentioned the Jaguars Academy. We're now seeing players like Jermaine Illuminor, you know, Menelik Watson, even Morris Burringer.
Sure.
Is your strategy to nurture kind of the elite players from over here and get them through the draft or into college? Is that a part of your plan as well?
If that happens, that is a fantastic outcome, obviously, for the game. We are not here developing players to be a feeder system for the Jaguars. That's not to get the league rules, and that's not what we're here to do. We are here to grow the game, grow it through participation, as I said. There is no doubt that the talent exists over here. It's just the skill and the development is quite raw, because people tend to start a lot younger or a lot older over here.
Yeah.
If we can get the process going where people start playing the game at a younger age, you know, then as the phrase goes in the States, you might be cooking with gas, right? I mean, you might be onto something.
Yeah.
We've had 15 of our kids from the Jaguars program go on to their local BAFA team and start playing contact football and start, you know, engaging with the cadet programs. That is the sort of thing that will really create a groundswell. And if you get kids good enough, you know, maybe they'll go on to a JUCO college in the States, a junior college in the States, or they'll go to a Division 1, 2, or 3 university. And you're seeing that. We had a couple of our kids from the academy last year go to JUCO programs, and you know, look, if you're good enough in JUCO, a Division 1 school or a Division 2 school will find you. There's no doubt about it. And if we can play a small role in getting people starting to play the game at a younger and younger age, that's awesome. If we can 5, 10, 15 years down the road have an NFL player who started out playing JagTag, that would be an absolute dream come true.
The Jags are now 3 consecutive wins in London. The formula's working, isn't it?
Well, look, I mean, we are the UK's home team. I think it's quite clear from the players' reaction, from the fans' reaction, from the routine that we've gotten into, that we know what we're doing here. And you know, obviously that doesn't drive complacency, and that doesn't drive any level of arrogance or confidence, but certainly it certainly does drive a level of familiarity that is very helpful whenever sort of a routine is changed a little bit.
Yeah, it'd be remiss of me to finish this interview without asking the next question, so forgive me.
Bring it.
I've got to ask you, what is more likely? You know, we're getting regular games, eight games of all different teams, or a franchise over here. What do you think is more likely?
Yeah. You know, I don't know. It's a very good question. Those are questions that are those are sort of decisions made at this ownership level. You know, our job as a team and the league's responsibility is to learn as much as we can about this market, and at such time that the league and the owners really are prepared to answer or ask that question of, you know, what is the complexion of the involvement here for the NFL in London. We want to be able to bring as much information to the table as we can, whether that's from a league perspective or team perspective, and that's what we're hoping to do.
Hussain Naqi, thank you so much for your time.
It's been my pleasure. Thanks for the time.
Thank you very much to Hussein there. Very nice of him to take some time out of his busy schedule. I know he lives over in London, but still he made some time for us, and around the period where the Jags are over as well, it was good insight into maybe where the Jags might be going in a few years.
Yeah, we really appreciate Hussain's time, and it's really important for us as a channel that we get the UK perspective, and to speak to someone like Hussain, who's so high up in a professional NFL organisation, for him to just chat with us and talk us through what the Jags are doing and where they're trying to build is invaluable to us. So thank you so much. We want to get you guys actually to be doing some of these interviews. So if you do want to be part of what we're doing here, get in touch, like I said earlier, and we'll try to facilitate that. What other games did you like this weekend, Ben? Let's smash out a couple more.
Okay, let's go for Giants Eagles. What a finish! 61 yards
from a rookie kicker. Jake Elliott sets the Eagles franchise record. Ice in his veins, that guy.
Yeah, and you've made yourself. You're a cult hero already. He's played 3 games this season, and he's a cult hero.
Well, he's not a cult hero. He's an Eagles hero, mate.
Hey!
Oh dear, that was terrible. But let's talk about, because we saw Carson Wentz and he made some really nice throws. He didn't blow the doors off yesterday. He's still developing as a quarterback, isn't he? Would you Where do you see his development coming? Is he the same level as kind of Winston, Mariota? Whereabouts do you rank him?
I'm putting him under that. I'm putting him just around Jared Goff. I think he's been above Goff, but Goff's kind of caught up. But he's a different kind of quarterback because he's making some really interesting plays. Like he's trying to spin out of the pocket. You don't really know what you're going to get of him, and that makes him quite exciting to watch. But I think yesterday, the key thing was they ran the ball well. And when you run the ball well, it just takes a bit of pressure off, doesn't it? It gives them a bit more opportunity to let loose on the front foot. I mean, what was the stat? 199 yards?
196 yards on the ground, the rushes. So LeGarrette Blount and Wendell Smallwood really combining. Let's go from one emerging quarterback, Carson Wentz, to one on the decline. We had a question from Jack Humphrey on Twitter. Feel free to get your questions in, by the way. He said, what does McAdoo do now with Eli Manning? You know, you've got this guy who's past his prime. I think that's fairly obvious to say. He's still a decent quarterback, though. There needs to be more protection, I think. The Giants' offensive line, Jack spoke to us yesterday and he thought that the offensive line was improved. But I still don't see... Eli needs time, that's for sure. But there doesn't seem to be a backup option.
No, I was going to say, where's your option then? Thinking, okay, you don't want Eli this year. Where else are you looking?
Yeah, well, I mean, the Giants are what, 0-3 at this point? So maybe they're taking Sam Darnold with a first overall pick if they continue to struggle. There has to be improvement. I mean, the Giants were shut out for 3 quarters against Philadelphia.
Yeah.
That's just not good enough. Odell Beckham scored 2 real quick ones, and then they added a third as well to make the score kind of tight. But
much of the game, there wasn't a lot in it. There wasn't much from the Giants. I mean, if you haven't seen Beckham's catch as well in the corner of the end zone, that is worth a watch. A one-handed grab, and I think they rely on Beckham to do things to stay tight in games, and that's not really where you need to be. You need to be on the front foot. Evan Ingram does look like he's got potential to be a star, so they've got a few. And Sterling Shepard makes a great play as well for the touchdown. So they've got some good players there, but I think you're right. The O-line, the quarterback, something there isn't working. And Paul Perkins cannot run. But that's not helping either.
They're missing that dynamic runner, aren't they? And that's not going to help if Eli can't throw the ball. So let's sort it out on the offense. They've got a good defense. Well, I want to say that they've got a good defense. I've got them as my fantasy defense. They haven't really done it for me. I think I might need to switch it out. Tom Julian 0-3 as we record in fantasy, after being champion last year.
Yeah, you can live off your high, but we're on to 2017. That's
pretty disappointing. Let's go from an 0-3 team to a 3-0 team. The Atlanta Falcons. Huge game against the Detroit Lions. It was really a prove-it game for both teams, I felt. I mean, obviously the Falcons got to the Super Bowl last year, but I'm a strong believer in the Super Bowl hangover. I thought this might be one of those games that they get tripped up. The Detroit Lions looking promising. Matt Stafford, best paid player in the NFL, trying to lead his team to a decent playoff run, which they really haven't had in his time there. But the Falcons come out on top, 30-26. The Falcons are 3-0, and it looks like they're dispelling this myth of the Super Bowl hangover.
They are, and they can run the ball, unlike Paul Perkins. Freeman looks awesome this year. Like, he's just cutting through holes, and then that puts Matt Ryan in the prime position again. He's making some throw. They're not as explosive as last year, I don't think, but I really like them on offense. But are you on them now? Like, they're 3-0 now. Are you back on the Falcons, or are you still?
I'm not. I was never off. I really like the Falcons. I haven't got a problem with them at all. I love the way they play. I think Steve Sarkisian's come in to replace Shanahan as OC, and they're continuing to play fun and attractive football, which is great. So I'm rooting for them. But I was rooting for the Panthers last year, and they absolutely crumbled. I think it was really important that they got the close week 1 win. If they'd lost that game, I feel like it might have been a bit of a different season. You know, maybe this game doesn't go their way, and then they're 1-2. So it's a different prospect. And it's a tough division as well. I'd like to see the Falcons back and competing. I think they're great. I love Julio Jones. Love Matt Ryan. They're a fun team to watch. So I'll be rooting for them. Talk me through though. There was another real tight decision.
Controversial, isn't it? It was nearly a game that the Falcons didn't win, and to be honest, it looked like they'd lost it. Last seconds, I think we're 8 seconds on the clock. Stafford led the drive all the way up the field. Little slant to Golden Tate, catches the ball, and is in the end zone, lands in the end zone. Everyone thinks walk-off touchdown.
Ben starts tweeting again.
Yeah, nightmare. Under review, and seeing, I think it's his right leg down on the 1. 8 seconds on the clock. Everyone thinks, okay, Stafford on the 1. He's done this before. Then we get this kind of new rule. I'm not sure I've seen it before, where if the touchdown's given and then it's ruled back to the 1, there's some clock that needs to be kind of worked out. So 10 seconds is taken off the clock, which is the time when the quarterback would have gone up, maybe spiked the ball, got a play off. So they take this 10 seconds off the clock, and this finishes the game. Stafford, no chance. He had to walk over, shake Matt Ryan's hand. There's nothing else he could do. How do you feel?
There's got to be a rule change, hasn't there? But like, I can't abide that. They need the chance to finish the game.
Yeah, but then I'm on the other side. Say I'm the defense and I stop them, and then the clock stops. Well, why should the clock stop? I've stopped them on the 1. The clock should be running. Why do they get a chance? It's going to work unfavourably for one side.
That's a very good point, actually. One I hadn't considered. Let us know in the comments. Yeah, I'm just letting you behind the curtain there that I hadn't thought about it. What do you think? Should the Lions have had a go at that, or are you with Ben that the defence there has made the stop and that's the rule, so that's the way it goes? Let us know in the comments. Let us know on Twitter. We'd love to have your opinion. Let's talk one more game. Let's talk the Super Bowl champs.
Yeah, the big man.
And they are back with a winning record. The New England Patriots beat the Houston Texans 36-33. And this is a game, if you're the Houston Texans and you're Bill O'Brien, who used to work for Bill Belichick, you want to prove it to your old boss. You want to go, yes, this is me. We are a playoff team and we are going to compete. And they can't hold on, Ben. With 2 minutes left to go, they give the ball back to Brady, and what does he do? He puts it in the end zone.
He walks down and puts it in the end zone. It was like this, it didn't take long. And I think that's the thing, especially for a defence that's supposed to be as good as the Texans, you've got to back yourself. Last 2 minutes to shut a team out, even if it's Brady, or put up a fight. Like, it was just too easy for him, it seemed, that last couple of minutes.
Yeah, 5 touchdowns for Brady. 5 sacks as well. He got hit. He's going to be aching today.
Vegan Diet will sort him out, won't they? He'll be back tomorrow.
That's true. But we don't need to tell you. If you've just switched on to the NFL, you know that Tom Brady's already the greatest. Fantastic performance, and now they're 2-1, and it looks like
golden, isn't it?
The Patriots train is back on the tracks.
Yeah, I don't think that division's doing a lot. The Jets struggling. Bills got a win yesterday, still struggling. Miami, everyone thought Miami would do great, and looked poor yesterday. So
yeah, couldn't get J.J. going at all, could they?
No, which is their key weapon, and I think. Well, I don't want to say they won already, but that division's looking pretty solid for the Patriots.
Mm-hmm. One thing that gripped every team yesterday and the whole weekend really was President Donald Trump's comments. He said that players shouldn't kneel, called them son of a bitches, should be fired. Yeah. And I mean, if you've seen Donald Trump at all, he doesn't hold back, does he? He has his opinions, whether they're right or wrong, and he goes for them. And the NFL united, and it very rarely does this, that every team comes together, but almost every owner, I think, released a statement condemning Donald Trump, supporting their players. And you saw teams like the Steelers didn't come out for the national anthem at all.
Yeah, 3 overall, I think, yeah.
Yeah, and Titans and the Seahawks as well, I think it was. And it was a real show of unity. I mean, there were owners. Shad Khan was on the side with his players. There were head coaches linking arms with players as well. And it was really interesting to see. What did you think about that?
No, I agree. I think, and the commissioner came out today as well and said he backs the league, so he's clearly happy with everyone having their own freedom of speech, and I think that's what it comes down to. Like, I think Donald Trump's making out that there's some terrible atrocity going on, and at the end of the day, they're standing up for their own freedom of speech. They're not ripping into their own country or anything like this, really. But I don't know. Trump he digs a lot of holes for himself, and he's still on the front foot at the time of this recording. So he is not going to back down. It'd be interesting to see where this goes. Where do you think it's going to go? Is he going to back down? Is someone going to back down?
What can he really do? He doesn't have any. Unless he decides to shut down the NFL, which he obviously can't. It's like, I don't know, because, I mean, years ago he said that politics and sports shouldn't mix. Now he's very busy involved in the NFL, he's involved in the Golden State Warriors, and to be honest, he should maybe concentrate on foreign policy a little bit more than.
That's for a different channel.
Yes.
Tom's got another channel. He'll post a link in the description below about politics.
Yeah, the politics show with Tom. But I mean, listen, he's making these statements. The whole NFL's come together, and I was really pleased to see. Even people like Robert Kraft, the Patriots owner, who's obviously very close to President Trump, saying, listen, these guys, they get 1 day off a week on a Tuesday. Loads of them do loads of charity work. They take their day off to do that charity work, and they're doing lots of things for their country, you know. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know what... I would hate to be in Donald Trump's mind. Like, he must know he's in the wrong at this point, and yet he just can't back down. So who knows where it'll end?
No, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
We will wait and see for that.
Okay, let's have a little preview of week 4 then. We had some cracking games this week. I think we've got a few great games next week as well. What's your pick this week?
I am going to go for... This is time of recording. We don't know what the Sky games are. So don't know whether this is going to be on Sky or on Game Pass. But I would like to see the Broncos, the Raiders. That's at 9:25. That is an exciting matchup. The Broncos collapsed a little bit on Sunday night. Trevor Siemian threw 2 interceptions.
Horrible interceptions.
Yeah, and that really cost those guys. So they need to put up, don't they? Really. Yeah. I mean, the Raiders have started strong again. Struggled.
Had less than 100 yards on offense.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't know that.
I think that's a fact.
Oh my goodness. Against the Redskins.
Yeah.
Wow.
They were rubbish.
That is bad.
Redskins defense is quality.
So it's a bounce back game for both teams here, and it's going to be absolutely huge. Obviously, a big AFC West matchup. 2 teams that want to, 1, win that division, and 2, progress to the playoffs and go deep in the playoffs as well. You've also got the Chiefs in there as well, so that's a tough division, and this is a game that you have to win.
Yeah, definitely. I've made a little pick as well, and my pick is another divisional clash, and it's the Ravens and the Steelers. 2 teams that will be hurting this week for different reasons. Steelers come off sort of a close loss, and the Ravens got absolutely pummeled. But I think it's going to be a big game. That it's going to be physical. I think both teams are going to try and be on the front foot and actually get out there and make up for what went wrong last week. And we're looking for a big Ravens defense performance, big Steelers defensive performance as well. I think it might not be a classic in terms of high scoring, but I think it'll be a lot of quality there.
You love a bruiser, don't you?
Jeff's got me in with all these bruise bowls.
Yeah.
I'm now picking Jeff. If I see a couple of good defences, little local divisional clash, I'm with Jeff. Bruise bowls.
You love a bruise bowl, don't you?
Bruise bowl.
One game we should definitely talk about is the New Orleans Saints and the Miami Dolphins, because they are back. They're at Wembley. And it's going to be a really great game. The Saints coming off a close win where they had to win this weekend. You know, that would have been a long trip to Wembley without a victory. Yeah. Taking on a Dolphins team that we've already mentioned, you know, struggled last week. Jay Ajayi couldn't get going. He's back in London. He's going to run with a chip on his shoulder, isn't he?
Yeah, he's going to want to prove to a few. I think there'll be a few family and friends here as well, so he'll definitely want a big game.
Yeah, and you've got Dolphins quarterback Jay Cutler, who got slated actually by Tony Romo in the commentary box. I think he's going to want to prove himself a little bit, not necessarily to the fans, but to Romo. I think that's going to matter to him. He won't want to be criticised by his kind of fellow professionals, especially Romo and Cutler, who should have been in the commentary box competing.
Sparring it off.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you are going to that game, enjoy it. We had an absolute blowout this weekend. Who knows what's going to happen?
A bit tight this week, I think.
Who are you going to pick?
I'm going to go Dolphins.
Oh, I'm going to go Saints.
Yes.
We'll see what happens. Yeah, it will be. It'll be a bit of a shootout.
Yeah. I'll go by 3.
By 3. Okay, I'm going to go by 6.
Oh, a bit more.
Yeah, go the Saints. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Tom.
We're going to have Jeff back next week. He gets a week off after his travels this week. But thank you guys for joining us. Please send in your questions, your comments, and as ever, if you want to get involved, please let us know. We're NFL_talk_UK on Twitter. And if you're watching this, you found the YouTube channel, so well done. All right, that's it.
Let's sign off.
Enjoy the week of NFL action. Enjoy Wembley if you're off to the Saints and the Dolphins, and we'll see you soon.